Greetings! I were the 5? I couldn't tell. I stopped after the, what was the horrible one with the liquid woman in it, where they started throwing caskets. That one. Yeah, I haven't seen any of those. I just thought, no, Arnie is too old. No, let's not go there. They can't. Wait a second. How about now?
Can you hear me now? You bitch slapping hers. Apparently they can now. All it required was to insult them.
Yeah, proper.
I imagine that's exactly how that fixed it.
Imaginary slap to the face. So, I would like to give you an answer, Panzerkaputt. I have to click a bit around here. I hope I don't break anything now. Let's see if this goes anywhere. It's a track called Big Rock Take the Lead. That's from, I think, the YouTube audio library. If that helps any. Let's see. By Kevin MacLeod. Yes, it's YouTube audio library. So there's that.
Sense.
Yeah, Kevin MacLeod really does a lot of things in music. So let's see if I can get this one to work. Abracadabra. Nope, that's the wrong one.
Shame.
Where's the other? Ooh, didn't I do it? Wait a sec. I have to go to studio mode again. Oh, this is. Copy.
Star Warsing.
And paste. And don't show. And go way down. Alright, could be so easy now. A little bring. And if I now do abracadabra, ta-da! This is the HDMI capture card with my good video camera.
Ooh.
Shiny.
That's very shiny.
Because Jerry asked if I wanted to show some toys. So why not start with that? So here are toys. With the smiley package. And we're gonna start with a letter that I got from Doom Zombie, because he was so nice to send me a nearly complete set of HeroQuest, which I very much appreciated. So we have here tiles, blocking tiles, stairway, secret doors. So these are the two-dimensional tokens that go on the board.
I don't know if other people are seeing it. I'm currently seeing your face. We're not looking at your top-down camera. Just in case you're putting stuff under it.
Now I know why, because I'm in bloody studio mode. So, transaction. Where is the button? I don't know.
Imperial fleet returning to the sector, space beyond a rim. Oh, that's never good to. Never good to.
This should be.
There we go, that's us.
So, here again, this is the good video cam. Yep. And here is the envelope with the tiles, two-dimensional ones. Then I have to show the letter again. Where did I put it? There. There it is. So, Doom Zombie again, thank you very much. The chocolate didn't survive a day. Well, who would have guessed? We are having a character sheet. a whole bunch of them. What makes you wonder, is that game being played ever?
Yes, but most people only ever needed one character sheet.
Probably.
That's why they invented rubbers.
Black magic. We have a dwarf, an elf, a wizard. And I think that was all royal. Also, the heroes were complete. At least on cards, the barbarian. A little book of rules of play, which I have to translate for my daughter. The quest book, also to be translated. And that was that. Now for the fun part.
Fun.
The big part. The master screen. Which is bloody ingenious if you look at the little cutouts on the side. Every other product similar has done these straight, so it's always wobbly. And these are cuts to get it down. This is just ingenious.
It is, but weirdly,
nobody does it.
GW never did it on any of the other games that had those screens, which leads me to believe that was Milton Bradley put that little touch in, and not Games Workshop. That was the board game company they buddied up with to make it. When doesn't it make more sense if this was straight and you're going, yeah, okay, right, we'll do that then. We're not doing it again, though.
So we have Chaos Warriors, 4-piece. These are still packed. I was a bit reluctant to unpack them, but since you all are watching, we will now try to get these out. He told me that some of them are painted. I hope it's not Humbrol Animals paint or something.
Don't worry, I've discovered Dettol will remove Humbrol enamel as easily as it removes acrylic. It just comes off like that in the space of about 4 hours with no,
I always thought
it smells pine fresh. It's great.
I always thought I had a neck on very weird painting schemes, but this is. Can you see this?
It's apple and green red. And, yeah.
White gloves, green body armor, red helmet, red trousers, black shoes.
It's very familiar looking. I think they were painted up like that in a White Dwarf or a magazine at some point. If it had black checks around the cuffs of those white gloves, I'm positive I've seen it in that colour scheme.
These are weird.
R. Holland is saying in the chat that there's a German version of the rules in a PDF.
Yeah, I saw that. Very, very much appreciated. Though I think the rules aren't that complicated to translate on the fly.
No, to be brutally honest, I think you could probably work it out just from the cards. Most of it was symbol based.
So in here we have Skellybobs, not painted.
Now I went hooking in my roof loft looking for my...
almost not painted.
My remnants. I can't find it. It's up there somewhere, but I can't find it. But I do know I definitely have the dice sitting around in my big box of dice.
Funnily enough, the dice are seemingly easy to find.
Yeah.
And they are even made aftermarket pieces.
Yes. Oh yeah, because people are still out there doing bits and bobs for it.
A gargoyle. Let's see if that is painted. It looks very much colourful in there.
Oh, I hope he's painted in reds and yellows like the back of the box one was.
Ah, no, just the wings are red. The rest is unpainted. So I
accept that.
I maybe started painting it, or maybe it's a set two halves make a whole.
Yeah, you just stone gargoyle red wings. Perfect. Don't need more than that.
And we have Fimir, whatever a Fimir is.
One-eyed swamp monsters from Albion.
Who comes up with these things? Or are these genuine legendary creatures? I don't think so.
I don't know who came up with them, but GW had them in Warhammer Fantasy for years. And then, in fact, they released new versions of them through Forge World about 2 years ago.
They look like something that could easily be part of 40k. Just give them a primitive firearm and you're good to go.
Away you go. Hello, painting after midnight. We're all having a whale of a time.
Hello, Titos. Yep. Where's the next one? Orcs. This was one of the model sets that were lacking in number. We have 3 orcs here, and there should be a total of, I think, 5 or 8. Can't remember. Let's see, 8 orcs, yes. 5 were missing. 3 are already on my way. And we have here one with a butcher's knife, one with a sword, and one with a mace, flailing stick, whatever. Ball on chain. And these
Morning Star.
Morning Star, that was the word I was looking for. This plastic feels nice. I wonder why they don't do this anymore. And for a miniature being, what now, 40-ish, 35 years old? 1988?
Idiot, yeah. So 30, 32.
That's more detail on it than they deserve. For a board game, at least. Yes, so
It's one of the reasons why it stayed so delightfully fan favourite-y.
there was.
Because it was top of the line when it came out, and it shows.
I remember seeing the box in the local game store and just oozing, dripping want, but I didn't get it. The only 2 hero minis we have in the picture, this should be the last for today, is the dwarf and the barbarian.
Well, so you've got the important ones.
Yes, and the wizard is on the way too.
Oh, nice.
Because I got a little bit lucky. There was one seller who made not immediate buy auctions, but actually auctions with a starting point of €1. And,
Oh, that's good.
and I've now got from him the wizard, a few tokens, three orcs, 2 goblins, and the board game for about €50 total. 15 euros total, including shipping. So, barbarian, dwarf, and not painted yet. And as I have told Jerry in chat just before the show, this will become a project on tabletop once the pieces from eBay arrive, where I will keep track of what is still missing and what will be done to them. Because I'm a ghastly little man. I do nasty things to parts of plastic.
Like paint them. You fiend.
I could be tempted to. Yes, the cutting mat is very clean because it's only a month old. And it's not the one I'm using for actually building. This is just for spontaneous cutting and putting things down.
Spontaneous cutting is great.
Yeah, or if
Much better than spontaneous combustion. That's great.
and it's not so expensive. Basically, the cutting mat I've got on my painting station is not big enough for most things I've cut from MDF or other things, so I needed a little bigger one. So this is 90 centimeters by 60.
Show off.
Yes.
My big cutting mat's only 60 by 45.
And the biggest thing is, I didn't even pay for it because my mother-in-law gifted it to me.
Crafters. Crafty.
Speaking of crafting, good segue. Craft beer. IPA again.
I'm still currently rocking the water.
Very well. Very good.
4 weeks. Almost. Is it?
You
So
do.
it feels fucking longer.
Yeah, but you do you. Battle of the Beers? No. Yes, I can, Manda, because usually it's overloaded with paper and other stuff. You wouldn't want to see the cutting mat on my paint station. That's a lot dirtier. So that had gotten a clean up after last night's incident on pigments.
Ooh, interesting. I spot on now. Thanks.
That's nice.
Once I got past through Sunday, there was less leakage.
So somebody plugged the hole.
One of the numbskulls.
Have you found the piece of resin that was stuck in your head?
No, but one morning I woke up and I could feel something right at the corner of my eyes when I woke up, and I just managed to flick it out. And I think that's what was it. I'd just been in there for like 2 days, 2.5 days.
Probably for the best.
Bastard.
But because when I was just speaking about what was I? Was I speaking about pigments?
Pigments.
I had trouble getting them on the miniatures the way I wanted to be. I wanted them to look like loose dirt, and using a varnish only made them spread out, so they looked like a wash more. That wasn't what I wanted. Lacking any alcohol in the current situation, I resorted to electronic cleaning fluid.
Just something to wick off quickly.
Yeah, and the best thing about this is a spray can. You can literally spray it over the pigment, and it will settle, and it's rock hard. And after those has evaporated everything, I coated them, and they didn't fade away. So this is something that worked for me.
Nice.
Though I don't know if it would have worked if I hadn't sealed the minis before, because before using pigments, I've thought I'd take your advice and seal them with varnish.
Always seal them, yeah. Because it means you can be as brutal as you want with pigments, and then clean them right off again. If it's too much, you know. I always seal before I start playing around with any weathering.
So Gaz is saying, I'm not only drinking IPA tonight, I've already sprayed IPA. Well,
no, I think he's asking, is it an IPA spray? Is the base part of your electronic spray? For electronics, I can't imagine it would be isopropyl alcohol.
Sadly, it doesn't really tell. At least I can't find. Where's the English translation?
Oh.
Contains hydrocarbons C6-7 and alkase isoalkylate silics under 5% and hexane hydrocarbon C6 isoalkananes.
Oh, I'm having flashbacks to
chemistry.
Organic chemistry, worst kind of chemistry. So it's not IPA, but constituent parts are very similar.
Yeah, according to the warning signs, it's highly flammable and toxic for water. So
most hydrocarbons are. It's good fun.
Don't not drink them. Just enjoy the fumes.
I do. I really do. They're great.
Yeah, it's evaporated very, very fast. So you have picked us again some very nice projects, and we're starting with Lunchstand at Glazes Creek. If he meant Lunchstand and not last stand.
I think based on the other things there was last stand.
Yeah, so we're guessing it's maybe autocorrection gone wrong on a German.
Auto Cucumber has worked its magic once again.
Fuck Auto Cucumber.
But this is a special place in my heart because it's the Praetorian Guard. So it's
it's not Praetorian Guard. It's Rock's Rift in Space.
That's the one.
So he has done a lot of painting. This is, as I understand, a complete box set that was on sale way back when some of you weren't around.
Back in the day, so the box set at the rear was 60 of your finest Earth pounds when it came out. I know this because I bought 3. And it contained 2 squads, a heavy weapon squad and a command squad, and a blister pack of casualties. And out of my multiple boxes plus additionals that I ordered, the only thing I ever completely painted were 2 of the casualty models. Because
it's fun to paint dead people.
It is fun to paint. It's fun to paint the one thing that has no purpose in the game whatsoever, because they weren't even an objective. They just included them as a little fun thing. But the Praetorian Guard were were interesting. Originally they showed up at they used to do big displays at Games Day, and they would get various people to paint things up from all around the company. So literally they would go, this year we're going to do the entire Ultramarine chapter. Every store has to paint at least a squad, and then they would tell you what squad you were painting and what paints to use. So one year they decided to do this Battle of Big Tooth River, it was called. It was a huge Orc v Imperial Guard, and they got the Mordian Iron Guard, cut their heads off. The Perrys sculpted pith helmets onto them to turn them into a Zulu-esque British colonial force, and everybody walked in and went, they're amazing, we must own them. And they went, yeah, we're never selling them. And after a couple of years of people bitching, they finally released that limited edition box set with the Praetorian in it.
Let me guess, it was sold out in minutes, even before the internet times.
They weren't quite as bad in those days, and then a few years later they brought them back as mail order only. So he's dug this out. There's some bits and pieces added from Victoria miniatures as well, but he's been painting it up, turning it into a full 40k force, and there's some really nice things in it.
Yeah, and he's constantly chipping away at these. This looks like the way it was meant to be, I would say.
Yes, because it did come with a transfer sheet and a standard for that standard bearer. So he's followed along quite nicely, and then he's gone in and went, well, you know, I need tanks, or I need vehicles.
Of course.
Broke out some old guard ones and then give them a dusty spray to make them look more like they should be operating in some sort of desert world. That looks fantastic.
I love this. Don't know if this catches on stream. Yes, it does. The little
Talarn Desert Raider.
Yeah, looks like some local showing the bad new overlords around.
Exactly, and that I think goes back to, as you said, Rourke's Drift and Zulu, where they've got the local, not quite a scout, but one of the Boer Natal police with the British forces at Rourke's Drift. They have Ardendorf's there and Sheets is there. Now, it looks great. There is a model that does a better job at being Ardendorf from the film, which was one of Colonel Schaefer's last chancers. I've actually got two. One of them I used for my own Praetorian Guard in exactly the same way. So I'm going to send him a wee PM and see if he wants the other one. I'll just ping it in the post to him. Because it's got the big floppy hat that Ardendorf has, and you know, he doesn't look like a prisoner like some of the other ones do, but he paints up nicely in black.
Yeah, and let's hope this project isn't done yet, but we'll get some more loving, because this is a so consistent and cool looking style, even though it's way too clean for the grimdark 40k universe.
Oh no, that's all you need. They're not slouches in the Imperial Guard. They're not like those Space Marines who just wander about looking dirty and gritty and not taking any pride in their units. Imperial Guard are better.
It's a sight for sore eyes.
Very much so.
And very much love goes into detail with these. These are very nice. It wouldn't surprise me if this ended up on a Ben, you must look at this list of yours for some golden button. Potentially.
It may well do. I'm not saying it definitely will, but it may well do.
But it could.
You're correct, Tuffy. It was indeed fingers.
For some reason, you people are stressing the system too much. I can't get my recommendations in here. Let's see if these stick. These stick.
Yay!
Because you can't leave a project without giving the appropriate buttonings. We can't have that. So these were adjusted. Weirdly.
Why is there a womble in the top right hand corner?
What? Where? What?
I've no idea. Can you smell vanilla or burning hair, Steve? You may be having a stroke. I can't see a womble anywhere. I'm deeply concerned now.
Are you all right, mate? womble? What?
I really want to press the womble. I think it's catching whatever it is. So, plus side, it's not a stroke. Downside, it's some sort of hollow virus.
They probably have done something terrible.
I imagine they have.
I would guess. Oh, I think I've done some stupid thing now.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh,
There's so much more time to go.
Yes, but here it is. So let's go this way. I don't need my face on stream. not a second time. So the next one is we definitely visited before, a madman building a citadel.
Definitely a madman.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there was a little bit of a break of several months there while life got in the way, but he's come back remarkably. Yes, every brick is individually cut out by hand. I was thinking he's just going to texture this.
No. He does. And these aren't your run-of-the-mill, I just wing the size. They all look like they are exactly the same size.
You'll be pleased to hear, possibly, that it's currently over 86 centimeters tall, and he reckons it will be double that by the time it's finished. So 160 centimeters or so.
Now I see what they mean by by what they want to press. Because of the last Sunday stream I did, I was able to be affiliate with Twitch and can now add things and toys. And now
things are great.
I've added the ability for chats to insert sound on the stream whenever they feel like it for a nominal fee, because you can either do it for free, but that would invite some people to spam that button probably, or they can use bits, but I've set it to the lowest bits part I could find. This is 10 bits, which equates to I think a euro cent or so, or 10, I don't know.
Right.
And that is money that will be collected by Twitch, and they will keep it safe for me until this reaches $100, and then they will pay me.
Ooh.
So feel free.
Big money, big prizes. I love it.
Feel free to hit that thing. If there should ever be the time coming that there is a payoff for me, that money will go 100% back into the stream. Or the hobby itself, but for nothing else. Or I'll pay some beers.
I was going to say, buying beers for yourself is probably the best way to do it. Yeah. That makes sense, because it is part of the stream.
Yeah, Crazy Red Coat, you could spam it if you're up to it. It's your money, not mine.
Right. So.
But speaking of, where's my goddamn... I knew I've forgotten something. Hold on a second. Where is it? Because we can't have a stream without stupid sound effect. But to get on back to this lovely citadel, it has risen some considerate height. Last time it was 1 floor, 2?
2 floors. So I think it stopped just before we got the ramparts, but at the bottom of this set of pictures you'll see it all laid out in sections on a table where you can see how many parts it's currently in.
Too many. And to think that the actual towers will still go up a bit, I'm starting to wonder if you will be able to fit it on any table.
No, God no. Not at 180 centimeters or 160 or 100, whatever it's going to weigh in at finally. It may fit on some tables, but you won't be able to reach the top in most cases. I imagine you put it on the floor. But I don't think it's particularly a gaming piece. It's more a labour of love. He did say that that's a bit weird. And he did say that it was sort of a tribute to the people who have passed because of Corona. So if you're going to do a tribute or do some form of remembrance for them, doing a small one that people can't really notice is a bit pointless, I think. Yeah, fair enough. Go full statue sized.
And it's in scale of 28, so it's a proper gaming piece.
There's a picture, I think, of a wizard or something standing in the doorway. At one point, being dwarfed by everything.
I just had the kitchen counter tabletop. There is he standing on top of it. There, that little bugger.
There's one where it's all stacked up and it's standing in the doorway, and it looks bigger again. I don't know what that is. It could be a dwarf, mind you, so it might not be too huge.
Well, let's see if you can find that. Oh no, these are the old.
Now there's a problem, and the problem is
the system again.
No. He also posts on Facebook in one of the groups I pay a visit to, so it might be in that.
Or this.
I'm currently on there. Oh, there he is. Although it was more front and center, but that will do the job. So yeah.
So it's basically a good sized gate for a castle, not a door.
Oh yeah, you can get a battering ram through that, or sally forth with.
Or a troll.
Multiple ogres can sally forth if needs be. I'm trying to find out because he has a specific page on Facebook. If I knew how to work Facebook, that I could search things and stuff, I would tell you what it is. There it is. That's what I was after. Because he builds other stuff as well, so it's quite nice.
Gigantic. This is a piece that I wish for that a company like GW would then say, we love this. This is a great finished product. We will buy this.
And put it in the museum in Warhammer World.
Yeah. Put it on display with a little plaque saying where it's from, why it's at, and maybe putting a donation box next to it for collecting money for the NHS or something.
Yeah. That would be lovely.
Because, as I understand, the NHS isn't very well funded in England, but that would venture into the territory of politics and where we
it's not. It's left out to swing in the wind.
Oh, having my little gadget out again with the sound. Jerry, I didn't think you have something with Saga coming today. Have you?
No, I took one out that was possibly going to go in.
Well, then...
Because I'm fickle.
Then you have to give this one a listen on your own. Everybody, open your ears. That took me a bit of time to get that right.
I like it. It's got a lot going on.
Yeah, Lena was very amused by it too. I've shown it to her and asked her if it suffices, and she said, "You will love it."
I say I'm very easily amused, easily pleased.
But that's something we all can agree on. Next up, this one we had seen before, the Rogue Trader, but that was some time ago. Has he done anything new? Oh, he has.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, yes.
People may remember him as being Ninja Bread. He still has his Ninja Bread blog. But he's been doing a bit of Titan work. I think we've seen... you haven't seen the 90s style Ultramarine. So Curtis has been doing a lot of old school stuff, which I just love. Love it to bits.
Comparing these to modern day Primaris is a bit funny. They look rather skinny in their power armor.
I don't know if that is the Forge World add-ons or if he's done a heavy conversion, because that's the old plastic RTB-1 rocket launcher on that...
on the Marine?
On the Marine. But hey-ho.
He has really talent for painting.
Oh, he was a studio painter for a few years.
I hate these people.
And he still does stuff for various people. So you'll often see his work popping up here, there, and everywhere. the Crimson Fist. Just, I mean, every one of those could have come out of the Rogue Trader box set. In fact, most of the actual patterns did. So you see the guy with like kill on the rocket launcher and stuff like that. It's just taken straight from old illustrations.
When GW still cared for the illustrations.
Yeah, when everything didn't look like it had just been photoshopped.
I love this little Titan at the end.
Oh, it's gorgeous. I don't know if that appeared in a White Dwarf or if he's specifically done it to match a White Dwarf. Did he say anything?
Vintage Adepticus against the forces. He was
no. So it's not actually one that was in a White Dwarf, but I've seen that stippled color scheme with the grey on grey in White Dwarves in the past, and it wouldn't have surprised me if it had been his in the past. But again, beautiful stuff. He is a talented bugger.
Yeah, and the flag on the Titan also looks very nice. Though I have my doubts that a Titan with that size is really carrying a flag of that magnitude, or even needs to.
Oh, they used to have massively massive ones, massively massive, full of massiveness. It's funny you say Third Company looks better than Second Crazy Redcoat. Did you know Games Workshop used to have dress blues? Did you know this, Pandancer?
No, I didn't. I'm actually not even aware of what are you talking about.
So, you've probably heard people refer to red shirts and black shirts from Games Workshop.
Yeah, where mostly I've heard red shirts as being a term in Star Trek with people who die first.
Yeah. Back in the day, Games Workshop staff wore red shirts if they were lower level, so part-timers, full-time retail. And then the store managers all wore black shirts.
Oh.
So you would often hear, in the old days, we would go to a forum and somebody would be going, in my GW recently, and the red shirt there told me that there's going to be a plastic Thunderhawk. And then they would spend like 20 minutes telling you that you shouldn't listen to anything a red shirt says. They know nothing. So, like Army Dress Blues, crazy, they did a set of the same. So it was obviously a polo shirt, was the standard sort of thing that most companies chuck out to their staff as uniforms, but they came up with dress blues for big events like Games Day, Grand Tournaments, that sort of thing. And it was ultramarine blue, but it had like a color-coded cuff at the end, and depending on what region you were in, you got a different company number. So Scotland and Northern Ireland were the third company, so we all had red, and Northeast England fell into that as well. First company, so the veterans, the Terminators, were trade sales and the mail order trolls. I can't remember what way they split the others, but essentially the regions were all split. So when you went to Games Day, you would see them in blue outfits instead of red and black, so you didn't know who was who. But if you turned them around, it would say on their back if they were a part-time worker, Scout; if they were a full-time worker, Marine; if they were store manager, Sergeant. And then as they went up through the ranks, so like area managers got things like company commander or chaplain, and you could go around Games Day and try and spot people and try and work out where they were from. It's very weird. It was really cute. They pulled the whole mythology of 40k into doing it. I don't think they do it anymore.
I was just about to ask, how long did they keep this up?
It was for several years at least. I think it started around 98, 99, and ran to the early 2000s. They were still going whenever I left the company, but it was really cute that you could see like a tech marine go past, and you knew that they worked in Lenton in the casting room.
Did they also have these tools coming out of their back, or
no? Unfortunately not. No.
Or if you're going to do that, go all the way, go all the way in.
Oh. There's always the next time.
So, speaking of next, Spring Cleaning Challenge, green dudes.
Yes, fishmen, because we all like fishmen.
And I think we have seen these before because of the humongous base of the large creature.
Yes, the big purpley base.
Oh, apes.
Purpled up. But there have been many updates, and some beautiful updates in there.
Apes together strong.
Especially with Creed Gaff. Because he was a particularly weird fellow.
Looking at this chimpanzee, he looks so natural with a gun in a hand, it's scary.
That's Chimp with a gun. And again, if you look at the big fella, he has the base painted to match the tile that he will be on in the mission. And there's some nice things where it's gone, well, you know, painting up all the frogmen together, great. Pick these three, even though they're not part of the same encounter, but they're all furry and are painted in a similar way. And to try and speed painting through, batching things that are similar together to help in that makes a lot of sense. And
keeps you sane.
Very true.
What the hell is that?
That is the Conqueror Worm. There's a painting bit about it next, but I didn't reverse the order on this one because I know we'd done some before. So they've been playing through various scenarios in order, I think, and the Conqueror Worm paint job is stunning, simply stunning.
Ooh, shiny.
Yeah. Missed the last gaming session due to a vomiting girlfriend, but it was serendipitous in the fact you got to finish the Conqueror Worm. Yeah.
Well, everything has something positive with it.
Yeah. Every cloud is a silver lining and all that. Every vomit patch is an upside.
Every light at the end of the tunnel is an approaching train.
That's the one.
Oh, this... Yeah, he surely knows how to handle his paints. Well, that ape looks a bit different from the one that I've seen in the movie.
Yes, well, the one in the movie, they really lent into the fish bit.
With the googly eyes and...
But,
green stuff really works. Well, that's a headline I don't know if I can get behind.
Well, he does clarify that. Not green stuff, but dark green paint. Because as we know, green stuff is mostly shit.
And I always wonder how these things come to such fame when they aren't that good. Because when I started with 40k way back when, green stuff was the only tool I knew.
That's one of those things.
And
for years, people couldn't get their hands on it, and then all of a sudden it appeared, and it was like, oh my god, this is the best thing since sliced bread. You know?
And suddenly, everywhere there are two-component epoxy putties that are way better.
I still maintain brown stuff, just because of the sharpness of it. It's not as flexible, but I don't need flexible. I don't want something that's like a rubber ball when I'm trying to do work with it.
This consistency on her hair color drives me green with envy. I never get this right. My hairs always come out like some color blob with highlights. That's why I'm playing mostly Imperial Legions. They all wear helmets.
Yeah. Nobody will ever know.
And even if they had hair, I wouldn't care.
Both flavors of hectic there as well. So, and the Lloyd shots. So we have pre-murder to death and then subsequently resurrected via the medium of an Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden music is good, but is it that good?
Well, maybe she wasn't a fan. Just resurrected to switch it off.
Or Eddie needed a girlfriend. I like the fact that there are busts as accompanying to the gaming pieces.
Yeah, they're trackers. You don't have to use them. There's busts for the main four, and then you could buy additional busts for some of the add-ons, like Lobster Johnson there. But there was just little tokens. They've actually gone one step further. They currently have a proper bust set, larger. They got the original sculptor to go back in, add more detail, and then scale them up and cast them as resin ones, because so many people were going, I really want to paint these. Can you not do proper busts? Because those are just game tokens.
Oh.
Nice game tokens, but game tokens. So now you can, if you want to get a large collection.
And here we have something. Did you see this? Password at 32A or 321. Maybe don't write down your password on a piece of paper that you put on the internet. People, please.
I can understand you saying no, but at the same time, we'd have to find his house. It's a lot of hassle, and I'm very lazy.
I always find these things amusing. People, customers from me that are notoriously paranoid when it comes for their data, but the secretary has a password written on a sticky note under her keyboard.
Yeah, it's the best way.
You just can't help such people. It's impossible. What the hell is that? Teenage Hellboy?
That is Peanuts. That is Teenage Hellboy. Correct.
Looks like somebody found in his dad's Halloween suit and put it on.
Similar.
Yeah, these are really nice. And a lot of things happened, as you said. Oh, what do we have here? Ghosts? Spirits? Witches? But they're not green. How can they be witches when they're not green in the face?
They're, not Scooby-Doo witches.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Laughing Boy.
Good evening, Laughing Boy. Look at these colors.
And harpies. That was when I seen those. I was blown away because generally when people do harpies, they tend to get white chicken wings because it's very easy to paint.
Yeah, or some sort of greyish brown tones.
So it was really nice. I think he does specifically say in the comics they're black, and with Mignola's art style, everything's very black and stuff. But he's not, not afraid to occasionally go nuts with the color when the mood strikes him. So he decided he would go off book and go for these extravagant color choices.
I'm really impressed by people having so much background knowledge on the material they're working. I usually am very ignorant, to be honest, and just take the mini and paint it how I want it to be, or how I imagine that it should look.
You can do that as well. There's nothing stopping you.
Of course nobody's stopping me, but I'm still very impressed if people go the extra mile to research all the little nooks and crannies.
Yeah, I think what helps here is obviously he's a fan of the comic book series, which isn't particularly long. It's not like, Batman or Superman where you're going into the thousands of issues and multiple comics. They're very self-contained.
And all the different timelines.
Yeah, but also the fact that Mantic treads so closely to the comics, so you can play through actual, you can play through the Conqueror Worm, you can play through the Big Red Hand and those storylines in the game, and then the tiles are done in Mignola's art style, and everything is very comic centric. They haven't just gone, we've got the license, we're going to do Zombicide Hellboy like some other cunts might.
Or even worse, just go copy the design from the movie.
Yeah, so they've gone, here's the game we want to do because Ronnie's a Hellboy fan. Actually, Ronnie's son's a Hellboy fan, and he got Ronnie into reading it, at which point Ronnie was going, this is amazing. Find out who's got the license.
Too bad. Those are no longer your comics.
Yeah, that type of thing. So, although to be fair, I think the exchange went back and forth. So Hellboy went one way and The Walking Dead went the other. But yeah, when you've got something that's so intrinsically tied to the original IP it's come from, the fact that you can just go through and actually pick up a comic and go, they were in this comic, let's see how they paint them. Okay, we can do that. And where you want to go a bit off-piste, you can.
Oh, just look at these little buggers. Aren't they lovely? And the wolves we had just before, great fur.
Some of my favourite Nazis. Well, the one in the middle isn't. Nobody likes him, and he's forever getting thrown into giant apes' mouths or smashed off walls or set on fire or buried in.
Well, he's dead already.
He is, and nobody likes him. Bye, Carl.
Hello the days. And hello to everybody who has joined, who I've not yet greeted because I'm ignorant and not reading the chat because I'm fascinated with all your projects. And having way too much fun looking at other people's work while trying to ignore the fact that I would have to do some work myself.
I'm living vicariously through him. Since he's painted all of this, I don't have to paint mine. That's how it works.
So he's going out of his way and making the glass helmet himself. So how does this Mini look original? Is there no helmet on? Or?
I don't think there is. I'd have to go and open the box that has it.
Well, that
and it's in next door, and I can't be arsed.
That would be a very bad oversight from the manufacturing.
I don't know. It is a board game thing, so the minute you put in additionals, it gets tricky.
Yeah, probably.
But Mantic in the past did do little helmets for their Mars attacks, Martians. So they have form, so to speak.
Yeah,
when it comes to following the comic IP.
Yeah, but with Mothertex, they would have needed more than just one per box. So there's probably some sort of calculation going on if it's viable to do or not. And let's be honest, the margins without the helmets would have looked awfully stupid.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Too many minis.
The thing I'm looking forward to is when we get to see him doing Hellboy in Mexico, because I don't think he's done that yet. There's a few Hellboy projects kicking around the system at the moment, so I'm trying to keep track of them all. It's tricky.
Hellboy in Mexico. So
Hellboy in Mexico is great because he's fighting what do they call their Mexican wrestlers, luchadors, with the masks on, and they're vampire ones of those. So there's a Hellboy in a luchador outfit with a couple of friends fighting vampire Mexican wrestlers. Amazing. It is every bit as good as you imagine.
And at first I thought you would tell me Hellboy is wearing a huge sombrero, but a luchador mask is even better.
It may actually be Hellboy. Somebody's definitely wearing a sombrero and is holding a bottle of tequila as well.
Well, that would go well for the Aquaman.
Yeah.
To stay hydrated, a bottle of water disguised as tequila, so nobody's laughing at him. Because who drinks water in the middle of the desert? Certainly not me, because I'm not going anywhere near a desert.
No. Also, fish wee in water. So, best not.
Yeah. The only reason why we can drink beer, because there's water in it that has been in heavily contact with alcohol, so it's disinfected.
I think I've seen the last movie, but I also remember it getting massively, massively smashed by everybody in the world for being terrible, so I may not have.
I've only seen the two with
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman, and he's a genius. It's the role of his lifetime. He's just
certainly a lot better than playing the sort of ape-man monk in The Name of a Rose.
Well, that wasn't so bad, was it? And do you remember I think it was 80s or 90s American TV show Beauty and the Beast?
Yes, I do. where he lived in the sewers
as a handsome tiger monster thing. God,
I imagine that's to blame for a lot of current furries.
My mother loved that series and had to watch it every time it was on, and I just was, how bad can this be? And yeah, what was her name? Melinda Hamill.
I can't remember.
The lead character, female, who had these very large 80s shoulder pad shoulders. almost
very dynasty. Yeah.
Almost as wide as Ron Perlman himself. It was so bonkers.
Was it Linda Hamilton? Wow.
Yeah, it was.
I can't remember.
I think it was either just before Terminator or after. Yeah. He pressed the button. I didn't hear anything, but then again, I don't hear my stream.
But I don't hear your stream either.
I think the Days didn't press a sound button, but a GIF button. because my lovely face is in the chat. I couldn't withstand the temptation of doing.
You should have.
Why? To be fair, I could have used your face.
Oh, that's fair.
Also, people can now subscribe, not just follow me, but subscribe, so they have to pay to watch my content, which isn't a thing because I'm not putting anything behind a paywall. And if Twitch, for some reason, somehow managed to fuck that up, please email me. I won't have that. We don't want to make money off of you. Next up, Horatio Noseblower. That very generous man still working away on his Jungle Marumba Barumba.
Practically finished, I think, based on the
topic.
On the work there, yeah. So I'm not sure what he's planning on doing. Maybe the eyes.
I think the eyes. Maybe some detail work. Leash is still worked on posting more again soon.
Yeah.
But he is a consistent worker and a very, very talented man, I think.
See, with all those pictures, he could have used that clever device thing to make it spin around like what I did. I'm so pleased with myself.
Well, did you really do it by yourself, or did you copy the instructions Amanda had in her project way back when?
No, there's just a website where you just go in and upload whatever number of photographs you want, and it automatically does it. They just go, thank you, done now.
Because I can clearly remember Amanda having them in her project, and at some point she did a little side tutorial on this is how I did it.
I seen that, but like I say, this website, you just copy or control and select everything and then just chuck it at the website, and then it goes, here's your GIF. I want to thank you for the GIF. It required no thinking on my part whatsoever. It was amazing.
That's the best way. This is how technology should work.
Yep.
So our Holland says it was before Terminator, Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I will
which made the
find
movie,
the link and put it into Discord.
Which made the movie all the more weird when I saw it the first time. I know that girl. She was the lady from New York with the beast in the sewers. Why is she running around here on a scooter getting shot at by futuristic robots?
She should have dropped Michael Behan and just ran for the sewers. Just force Arnie to come fight him.
That would have been a very interesting fight. To
been amazing.
Catman fights the Terminator. It sounds like a very bad B-movie.
Doesn't it, though?
Well,
not as good as Suburban Sasquatch, but you know.
Oh God, don't remind me. That's half an hour I'm never getting back.
It's amazing, and you know it.
I only watched the YouTube video you linked to, and that's not even the whole video, but just the guys talking about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I don't think you ever actually want to see the film. I don't want to see the film. That in itself was hilarious.
It was so awful.
It's fucking beautiful. Everything about it was beautiful.
The worst part, but were actually when the director started talking in the after parts, trying to explain why he did what.
It's like a serial killer's confession video. You just knew the lump beside him's got a human skin for a shade on it.
Or like the guys watching the film saying afterwards, yeah, he's talking like he knows what he's doing, and he's talking like a first-year art school student who thinks this should be a film. And there are so many plot holes. So many. And these special effects are so bad.
They're great. Especially throwing the police car.
Yeah, and smashing the jaw of the one guy, and the police shirts having brown tape sticking to them to make them look like police shirts.
It was great. Is Michael Keaton coming back as the Batman? Well, the days. A long time ago, I heard they were toying with bringing him back and doing
The Grey Knight.
Batman Beyond, Batman Forever. One of the new, where they've like way in the future, and this kid stumbles across the Batcave and finds an old, bitter, retired Bruce Wayne, and then steals the Batsuit and eventually ends up becoming like his protege. So I had heard that was possibly a thing, but then I haven't heard anything about that since.
That would be a very cool twist on it.
Flashpoint. In that case, they don't want him being Batman, but he could play Batman's dad if it's Flashpoint, where he's rocking the twin 1911s and shooting everybody in the face because they took his son. That would be great. I would love to see. I'm trying to remember what his father was called.
Thomas
Wayne. See it as Thomas Wayne, not as Bruce Wayne. That would be fucking amazing. So that's good. So it's something's back on the cards again. Well, we'll wait and see if they go into actual filming.
Speaking of knights, Knickets and Magic Army Project Lizardmen by iCast Info. So, what do we have here? Classic fantasy war game, and that's actually called Knights and Magic.
Yes.
With CK. Actually.
I've never heard of it.
I don't, but the picture in the background as the header has magic.
Yeah.
So
but it does say that this is going to be a project focusing on recreating two armies from it. Published in the USA in 1980. So that's probably why I can't imagine any of the magazines I bought in the mid to late 80s mentioned it. The miniatures are either the original vintage miniatures or recasts, official recasts from classic miniatures. You can find all about it on this tiny URL link here. But I just went, this is amazing. One, because they're classic looking miniatures, and two, because it's done a really nice paint job on them.
And they have a feeling of the stop motion movies made by, what's his name?
Ray Harryhausen.
Harryhausen, yes.
They do.
I actually had the opportunity 25 years ago when I was in Berlin at the movie studios to see some original animated figures Harryhausen used.
Ooh.
It was very impressive. I always loved stop motion animation because it's so much work, but when done right, it looks amazing.
Well, just look at Jason fighting the skeletons.
The dragon's teeth that are thrown to the ground, rising skeletons. And the technical possibilities of the day were quite limited, to say the least. So this is
very much so.
Quite a thing. And they age very well because they don't start looking like, technology has moved on. No. Stop motion is still stop motion.
Still looks great, unless it's done badly by terrible people. I love that. The lizard comes from John Carter, from the Warlord of Mars miniature line from Heritage. Who knew that somebody had done a John Carter of Mars game?
Modivius did. Recently.
Did they?
Yes. Though I think it's an RPG.
All right.
Because most things they do is an RPG.
That is true.
I think, aside from Fallout and Skyrim, I couldn't think of any other miniatures they do. No, I don't think.
Acton Cthulhu.
But that's more a skirmish, is it?
Yeah, it's a skirmish game. So it's a separate miniature line skirmish game compared to the actual RPG.
So this is a very small project, so we will shuffle on.
Yep.
For the Battle of Berlin.
Painting them with Codarm paints.
Does he? Who?
Mm-hmm.
Where? What?
iCast Info.
Oh.
Just want to say that. So he's going full retro. Everything's from the 80s. It's amazing. I'm all for that.
Just let's hope he has used some new brushes and not Or maybe he found some new old stock from GW brushes or something. So we have some Russian guys in skirts. No, it's a brown trousers.
Marines. Get them off the ships onto the land.
By T.C. Jones 96.
T.C. Jones and his girlfriend. I'm not saying that she's been drafted in unwillingly because they're in lockdown. She can't get out of the house. But probably didn't hurt that she couldn't get out of the house.
Maybe he was drawn in and not she. Because a colleague of mine recently told
Just
me
read
that...
Hazy Boy's quote there. Sorry.
What did he say?
He was at an industry quiz once, and the team from the film company name was John Carter fucked my bonus. It was their own fault for taking Of Mars off that fucking title or putting it on, or they did something stupid with it, didn't they? It's fucking... Anyway.
Yeah, what I was about to say, a colleague of mine complained that his girlfriend is suddenly into painting miniatures, not actually playing, but painting. But since he is currently nowhere near any spare time to play, she just munches away on his minis.
Excellent. That's the way to do it.
Oh, I don't think these boxes would fare well in Germany. Do they sell this way in Germany? I don't think so.
I imagine they take that out.
I would say so too.
It depends.
Or they sneak it underneath and hope nobody opens the box before he's home.
Well, if I remember correctly, if it's an English language product that is just being imported, they can get through that way. But if it's made specifically for the German market, so if that contained the German rulebook and not the English rulebook, then no, they couldn't do it.
The problem is the difference that was always made in the past was, is it a historical context, so like a history book or a history movie, then you would basically get a free pass because it is history, full stop. But any other display was totally forbidden, no matter what language the book would be in.
Well, I'm not talking about books. I'm just talking about products, full stop.
Yeah, but
because I know if it was something made for a foreign market, and it was just being imported or shipped in, and there wasn't essentially a German version done, or it wasn't made specifically for the German market, it was exempt from that clause.
I couldn't tell you. I only know because last year, the year before, they started to loosen these laws a bit up, so even video games can now contain swastikas without getting an immediate takedown.
Only video games, because it hasn't been listened for, again, specifically things like this made for the German market. So if Warlord make a German language box set, although they can't because it makes no sense to have a German language miniature, but if they did, I think they still fall afoul of it, because that's doesn't drop under that.
It's
definitely
definitely
still a toy, so it's fine to be.
It's definitely something that has to be looked at in detail, and it's a potential trap. So I can understand if any manufacturer is opting out of not doing swastikas to be historical accurate and goes for something different.
They mostly, as far as I know, Crazy, they mostly just replace swastikas with the Balkan Cruise.
Or they use something else they invented. Wolfenstein used simply the stylized W instead of the swastika. So, for better or worse, it's totally...
Edmund Gary, you fiend. You forgot about us.
Well...
It's like we're not good enough for him anymore. That's what he's saying, really. Outrageous.
Well, what was I saying? Yes, the last very prominent redaction somebody had to do was shaving the beard of Hitler in Wolfenstein. Because the old man was clearly not Hitler when he didn't wear his mustache.
Oh, yeah. Totes.
He was
Totes
still...
time.
I think they called him the Great Father in the German version. I couldn't tell you. I always opt for the English version, if possible. Simply because in video games, translations is often worse than in movies.
Oh, is it? Oh, dear.
Basically, what it boils down to, the distributions in Germany have to charge extra for the translations, so they are cheaping out on the actors a bit, so you get a very poor acting performance. It's not technically the actual translation that's bad, but if you have something like a dying soldier who does a really dramatic speech in the original version, and then you come to the German version basically going someone like, I'm dying, help me. It's... no.
I'd enjoy that.
Yeah, once or twice. Well, what now? Did you remember something?
No, but I finally found the Citadel guy. He goes by Tiger Eye Creations on FacePage. So, just throwing it out there, if anybody wants to see more of Thomas's work,
and maybe
you can do so.
Pay him for his services if he is for hire. Next up, a total different kind of war, though somehow it feels current. By LSR 2590.
Thomas Ross.
The war betwixt the Yankees and the Americans. Is there a difference between Yankees and Americans?
Yes. Because I think LSR was talking about this in the House of Order one day, and that's a quote from Grandma Clampett from the Beverly Hillbillies.
The only reference I've got is the great acting career of Patrick Swayze with North and South.
That would work too.
Was it called North and South?
Yeah, there was a TV show called North and South. I can't remember the Sways being in
Oh,
it.
no,
but I can't remember anything about North and South.
I now know why this threw me off, because the German title for the TV series was a very traditional wrong translation, being Torches in the Storm. Ooh. Fackeln im Sturm. Why we should have to use these, I don't know. So who found the sound? Nobody volunteering to... Who did it?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Laughing Boy.
Probably. The madman finally did it, and he did 6 mil of micro... Where are the minis? I'm only seeing newspaper. Oh, they're there.
That's not newspaper, that's Deathfield's boxes.
Wow.
From his massive Imperial Guard thing.
Same, but different. It's paper.
Yeah, interesting.
This
very,
could be anything. These could be dwarves, elves, orcs.
Yeah, they won't be once they're painted. Once you scroll down, you'll be able to see the sweet detail on the 6 mil cavalry in his hand. See?
How can there be detail on 6 mil?
But there is.
Well, but how? And why?
Why is a different question. Look, those ones must be skirmishers of some description because they're all formed up.
The sheer size comparison is making me itch. These are 28 mil figures for 28 mil figures. You could make a... Did anybody do this? Did anybody use 28 mil figures to do a diorama of 28 mil figures playing tabletop?
Yes.
I thought so.
A few people have done it over the years. GW did it recently, actually. Inception Wargaming. Something like
Space
that.
Marines playing Space Marines. and you could even go a step further if you use the these fully bendable Space Marine toys they have.
Oh, the big Bandai.
Yeah, you use that as first instance, playing with the 28mm, and then going down to
28 playing with a epic 6mm. Yeah. I think we lose a little there because they're so big in those photographs. If you shook a camera more, it would help.
we make the photo a little smaller so they look better.
There you go.
There's more in size.
That's a prime example there. So that's how you paint them. You just need roughly, like blue legs, you say, great. Navy coats, awesome. Face, hands go about here and there.
I think the most detail has gone into the flag. Doing a few stripes and a few white dots. Nobody's going to count them anyway.
Yeah. You just need to know who's who.
But just looking at these just washed and shaded, how does anybody do these models? And why?
That is in that thing. So you can have massive games, huge games, sweeping vistas.
And dropping your units on the floor and never finding them again because you have a long...
That's why you always play barefoot when you're playing 6mm. Don't worry, you'll find them. You will find them.
You're not wrong there.
No.
I won't tell that you're wrong there, but you're right. So these... Oh, we can zoom all in.
This is Confederate cavalry.
So on my monitor, these are now approximately, I would say, 25 centimeters high. It's a bit of a zoom.
It really is. I can't wait to see him doing swaths.
This is
little
really...
fezzes. That's what I'm hoping for. Comments, criticism, advice is welcomed. It's his first go painting 6mm, so any tips, Steve, would be greatly appreciated.
But don't feel forced into it.
To be brutally honest, what he's done there is spot on. So.
Laughing Boy played an applause. Thank you, Laughing Boy. So I do hear it in my headphones. Next up.
Yes, next.
A Father's Day build. Which always confuses me because there are
depending where you are in the world.
3 main Father's Days I know of. The one in Germany, one in America, and one in the UK's.
Certainly. Sounds like it could be a thing. I'm not saying it's solely done just to sell cards.
Probably. Could. Well, I know they put it in Germany on a day where it's actually a holiday, so all the dads have off. All the real dads stay at home with their family, enjoying the day off. All the young guys striving to be a dad someday are running around the country drinking as there is no tomorrow.
That's the way to do it. Makes sense.
Oh, we have tiny elephants here.
Yeah. Accidentally slipped while browsing Pendragon's website. And ordered some stuff.
We actually coined a word in German for that. It's Mausgerutscht. It's a amalgamation of the word mouse, well, it's mouse, and ausgerutscht as being slipped. So you're slipped with your mouse. You're Mausgerutscht.
That's like grief bacon. It's an awesome word.
Yeah, or being hangry.
Yeah.
But the worst thing is, this word originates from a politician scandal. Because he has clicked links he shouldn't have clicked.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Is that where it came from, mouse slip?
Yeah, that's very bad. So...
Oh, that's hilarious.
Look, he's watching us. Why?
Oh, best way to get painting done, because you know at no point do you want to look up.
No, probably not.
Be razor focused on actually painting.
Don't look and try not to laugh. Oh dear. I hope we are halfway through because...
First beer gone.
Gone completely, totally.
I think we're over halfway.
Yes,
so we're all fine
okay.
here.
If beer is left over when stream ends, I won't be mad.
No, yeah, you know,
To be
that's
honest,
one way of looking at it.
there are two more waiting in the fridge.
Oh my god.
I went a bit overboard because I thought to myself, if I have to do the extra drive to this special market to get these, I as well make it worthwhile.
Oh yeah, very much so.
So, Hex campaign tokens. Are these from GW?
Mighty Empires. They are the GW re-release of Mighty Empires. Promised so much, gave so little.
I wonder if anybody would redo this concept. This screams Doomy as a Kickstarter.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought somebody had, but I could be mistaken.
Problem is, if you do it too much like the IP GW users, you probably get some kind of cease and desist.
There'll be a cease and desist winging its way to you even as you think about it. The other problem was GW. I mean, I can't remember how many you got in the box, but I have a feeling that's possibly 2 sets there to make that.
These few? That's not very much.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, it was like everything from GW. It was ridiculously expensive for what you got. Because I don't own a set. Because I looked at them going, they'd be really nice for doing hex maps campaigns, and then I seen the price and how many you got, and I was like, fuck it, I'd need to buy like 5 of these to actually make a map that's worth playing over. I'll tell you what, I'll just go back to cardboard. Fuck them.
Yeah, man, that's what I was thinking. I thought I've seen something like that on Kickstarter for 3D printing. Even if it would only be the trays to fill up with spackle or anything.
Here's the Callistra hex tiles there, which makes me very jealous. Someday I will have them. Someday.
I think before you will be have painted every last of your miniatures, you will have collected all of them. And you will be the first Pokemon master of miniature wargaming.
Gotta catch them all. Is that it? I was going to say gotta keep them all. See, I'm so down with the kids. I'm on fleek.
Tigers storming a bridge.
They are the Pendragon Samurai Apes, correct?
And he has got some different hex terrain for this.
Yeah, that's the Callistra stuff. So they do beautiful geohex.
I always wondered why these didn't catch on more, because they are much more versatile for terrain building than any square-based terrain is.
Those ones are pricey, but those ones are hard plastic. But there's companies out there do jigs and stuff, so you can make your own, which are quite. I mean, it's labor intensive to do, but it looks quite nice. These ones are all interlocking and stuff. They're very clever. They have hills and valleys and mountains and stuff. At that point, when you put your 6mm stuff on it, it looks like an actual topographical map. Oh my god! I need some private time. just thinking about it.
Do you want to be alone for a minute?
No, that's right. I'll finish that one off later.
I don't know if I actually have started a project for that, but I have been doing for some time a hex-based terrain modular gaming table, but my hexes are 60 centimeters across. So it's ending up at the table with 120 by 3.
Little bit big. What's hex on, Steve? I did a quick search there, and all I can find is a video game on Steam, and I'm fairly certain that's not what you're talking about.
Who told what?
Steve was saying he still wants the hex on stuff.
Can't really. That doesn't ring a bell.
No. But I'm now intrigued. Anyway.
Callista stuff is Hexon. So maybe it's the range is called Hexon, I guess.
Alright, I've only ever called it Callista.
Yeah, the days Battletech has nice bases, and I've tried to make hex-based terrain for Battletech, which didn't turn out that bad, but not as well as I thought. I need some practice on the hot wire cutter. Next up. Oh, it's a tune to sing along. Waterloo.
You do you, I think. Isn't that
No,
the phrase we've used?
After getting copyright struck last time, I'm not going that route again. That's too much hassle to all the objections. And they haven't even decided if they are viable now. Well, we'll change my view. So we are having Black Powder Waterloo starter box built by Wojcik.
Yes.
And he's doing Napoleonic using the Black Powder 2nd edition starter set.
From Walad. So mainly add some extras to properly build up the forces. I would submit that he will almost certainly have to add some forces because there just isn't enough to properly do it justice. But he has quite a lot of Revel colours there.
Yeah, but for starters...
Right off the bat, just for you, especially, KGL, King's German Legion.
What? Who? Where? No. Ow, there, these.
Those are special British, and by British I mean German, just like the royal family.
Nine mud hell.
I'm as British as the Queen. You're half German. Your father was German. You're married to a German.
See? Point taken. We don't need to invade.
Oh, yeah.
We are like Ferengi. We acquire.
We acquire. Already own it.
Someday someone from the vault will emerge waving with debt ledgers and saying, hey, pay up.
It's probably Phil the Greek. There's a nice start to it anyway.
And we have a French officier.
Well, you can't have everything. But it does look like he's bouncing back and forth between the two sides so as not to get bored. So officer and then unit for the British and then officer and unit for the French. And that's probably an ideal way to do it as well. Especially
if you're doing a starter box which contains more than one faction.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a French column of attack. So many of the Revel acrylics.
Yeah, somehow Revel is a very prominent maker of models and colors in Germany, if you like it or not.
Yeah.
My first models were also all Revel, and I used Revel paints, but I used the enamel ones.
I used the Revel enamels as well.
And the best part of the day was trying to get the brush clean again.
No. What happened was the brushes went into the paint, and then at the end of the day, the brushes went into the bin, and new brushes were procured.
Yeah, you're a wiser man than I was as a child.
Well, it's only because the first time I tried to clean them, and I didn't realize you needed to use mineral spirit to clean it. So I just went with, soapy water. I was like, oh, this stuff is, this is all gone wrong. My fingers are covered in,
That sounds like fun.
My Lancaster bomber is green. I am green. Everything is green.
Turning into an orc. Well, not too bad. I was rather astounded to find that Revel has started using or producing acrylic paints, to be honest.
I have a sneaking suspicion, because I've never used them, but I have a sneaking suspicion they're similar to Tamiya's acrylics in that they are acrylic, but they're not water-based acrylic. They're a lacquer-based thing, so they're closer to enamel than a pot of GW or a pot of Army Painter. I could be wrong now. I know the Tamiya ones are terrible because I have Tamiya thinner over there. Even though it's acrylic paints, you still need to buy their special thinner. I think the Revel one might be something similar.
Very much possible.
I do like the little square pots, though. It just shows they're clever. Going, this isn't fucking falling over.
A bit over-engineered maybe, but you can store them good. They won't rattle. They also have started to sell hobby supplies, but as we have alluded on this topic many times before, for premium. So you can basically get shot glasses at 100% markup for mixing paints.
Don't think the Tamiya are alcohol based because they don't dry that quickly. I think they're lacquer. Water soluble. That's a fucking lie. Doesn't say. No, doesn't actually say what's in them. Does say use acrylic thinner, even though it says water soluble. So one of these things is not like the other, Tamiya. You lying shits.
But as we were on the subject of starter boxes, when you were talking about Freebooters Fate on the weekend, that was, I think, not on the XLBS.
Yes.
They approached the whole starter thing in a very nice alternative way to anybody else. I haven't seen the way they done it with anybody else before, because they basically say you need 2 different factions and you need a real book, and we make you a deal. Choose what you want. So you basically have a permanent, at least last time I looked, starter deal where you get the rule book and 2 of any faction core sets and some additional parts for a fixed price. So you either go really for what you want, or you go for min-maxing value versus paying money.
It's certainly one way of doing it. I think Demented Games do it with Twisted, although they're more recent on the market. Although I could be wrong. It may just be a buy everything type of thing.
That just sprang to mind when I saw the weekend, and I thought, yeah, that's one thing I really like on Freebooters Fate, and I like the cat at the bowls driving around the ones every time when Pete is in Hamburg at Taktika. I look over the shoulders of people playing. Michael from Tabletop Workshop has done more than one terrain piece for them, so it's a very small circle of people.
It does look absolutely stunning, and like I say, I own more than a few of the figures, but I buy them to paint because I enjoy painting, even though I rarely paint. But it means I keep squirreling stuff away. At some point I must have a look at the rules.
I just love the goblins. They are insanely creative, insane.
That's what you want with goblins. You want them to be nutter butters, and there's so much of the sort of Brian Froud influence in them. He's doing a very fine job, and I really wish my hobby budget was a bit higher, because simply for having them on display would be nice. And there have been some very nice display cases done in the Freebooters community, looking like the bellies of larger galleons and ships, and then just putting them on small, these little display pieces you have for trains. Yeah.
And they are made up from the inside looking like a warship or a galleon, and then they put the minis in. It just looks awesome.
Cool.
Very much spot on.
I must have a wee nosy at some point when I'm feeling the urge to go looking for more miniature porn.
Well, if Tactica 2021 comes around, and I'm pretty sure it will, I will make sure I'm there and take a lot of pictures for you.
Sweet.
Close-ups from Brother Winnie's grab a snag box, because he has always this nice box with fail casts in him to get for cheap. So you could basically, like the kid in a candy store, go in with a shovel, put him in the bag, and say, well, how much?
It's an excellent way of doing it.
Yeah, and
if nothing else, it's got conversion potential. And a lot of times when companies do that, the stuff that they decide is subpar, that they wouldn't sell, it's 99% fine. Maybe a little miscast on a heel. Or
usually they decide not to sell because they know that there's 1% of their audience that if they will get this thing, they will make a rage and a ruckus about it for nothing. And that's bad press they don't want, so I can totally understand why they scrap them.
Mantic do the same. At their open days, you can just buy their miscasts, and people just go in and pick up a just a bag's worth of stuff. You're going, happy days. Look at this weird shit I'm making.
I saw a video about, I think it was Reaper, about taking a tour in the factory on YouTube, and they actually collect old metal miniatures on at conventions. So you bring X amount of old lead miniatures,
and you melt them down.
And you get store credit, and for that credit you can pick up new miniatures.
So I know they used to, at one stage, they used to let people cast as well. When you got the factory tour, it was like, you can put your stuff in here, melt it down, then pour it in here. I presumably don't anymore.
No, I think the tour they gave these two YouTubers was basically, this is how we do it, and they really went out of the way to show every step of the way, and it was very fascinating. Especially when they came up to the what's it called, the big large hole with all the cast miniatures lining up left and right, and see, this one we have and this one we have, and you're just gonna, oh, I'm taking one here and one here and this one.
It's like going through the buckets in GW when they used to have them.
Sort of, yeah. Well, do we go on, even if the next participant isn't here? That little...
Can't. Terrible can't.
That terrible cunt. Robert and I has done the unspeakable. He's gone 10 mil.
Yeah.
And the question that is in all our minds, has he gone played? Or taught him? I don't think so.
I haven't seen a single one in there, and I, for one, am appalled. It's just not the same.
Then again, Ghosts and Tartan look a bit stupid.
I don't know. It'd be like that episode of Scooby-Doo when they visit Scotland, probably. Might have been a bagpiper somewhere.
I really need to make some notes for next year's April 1st. Invention of the year, plate paint found.
Might have be somebody's done one already.
I guess you know the technique of where the floating paint is on the water and you dip things in? Hydro dipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon if you get some mechanic printer to lay out the paints on the water, you actually could achieve something like that.
Probably still easier just to use the tartan transfers.
Probably. Did he paint pink dwarves? He did.
Why would you not?
Well, some people may find it offensive. I love him. And these will definitely stand out in the crowd of
all you'll
things mini from a mile away. The Pendragon, Wraith and Spirits. And not one bottle of booze. What an oversight.
Shame.
Oh god, I am feeling terribly sorry, people, for all these very, very low-class second-hand puns.
Yes, people expect much higher quality puns.
Maybe I should start streaming early in the day then, when the brain is still awake.
Oh no, don't do that.
So, next up we have another very small...
Another 15 mil figure.
Oh god, this dragon. I'm still impressed by this sheer model itself. Whoever sculpted that did a fantastic job.
I'm going to say it was Teddy Westside, because I have no idea who it actually was.
Just looking at the whole thing of balancing the wingspan of this monstrosity. Can you imagine a miniature, being a loose term here, at 28 mil scale? This is
big.
Yeah, and on a small skirmish table, my deployment. Done.
Just on any table at all. My deployment done.
That's the equivalent of playing 40k and just chucking a Warlord Titan on the table and saying, so, what do you have?
probably more like playing on top of an Emperor Titan. This is just the shoulders of an Emperor Titan. This is our tabletop.
Come and get me. I'm up here. And he's painted it in a very unique color scheme. Looks a bit, I dare say, cyberpunky Eastern.
It's bizarre. It's to match into a color scheme he did on his Lizard Men years ago.
Oh, and he did a video about it.
I thought you'd like that.
That cheeky bastard. Will we do a look-see into it? Yes, we will. But we will not do the sound, because...
nobody wants to hear him.
Let's see. Oh, he does a... Oh, it's a time-lapse.
Yeah.
So this isn't too... And when he's using contrast, he obviously hasn't used so much time.
Yeah, I think contrast is ideal for something like this. If you're not going to use an airbrush, contrast is the way to go.
Especially on that size.
Yeah. Because if you start painting individual scales, you will top yourself.
Well, but on the other hand, we have people painting buttons on 6mm miniatures, so... And he's not using the biggest brush. Just look at that. There are bigger brushes. He knows that, right? He could use a bigger brush. A bit... This exactly. It's not like he's concealing any details here.
No, that is true.
I get the point for the smaller parts, but
yeah, we could ask him.
Is he? Is he or is he not?
When it started, he may have left.
Oh, bugger.
Maybe not.
But
just once in the Dane company.
Yeah, we are laughing at this now, but actually I could see myself doing the exact same thing, starting on a small detail with a small brush, and not really thinking any of it, and just continuing with the small brush, only to recognize 3/4 of the way through the project, going, wait a minute, what am I doing?
No, alas, he's not in the chat. Was he talking? Oh, he was talking in Discord earlier, that's why.
Well, he will awake to some more button mashing.
Button mashing indeed. He's also worth, if you're not subscribed to his YouTube channel, folks, have a look at that. He does some nice stuff.
Does he show different brushes?
I have seen different brushes in the past.
That's good.
He owns more than one brush, correct?
What more than one brush size is the question. Next up, lovely sights for sore eyes. I still haven't gotten around to watch that again.
I might watch it after we're finished.
I always get one or two small snippets of it in between, just mainly Baldric going, I have a cunning plan.
Dear Baldric. Well,
let's have a coffee. Oh, we don't have any coffee. It's mud. With sugar. Dandruff. You could have some milk. I mean saliva.
Anytime he cooked in that show, it was always the worst thing. So there was like, was it ratatouille or rat something? And it was just like, I take a rat and then I marinate it in a puddle outside for a day.
The
Speckled Jim is just the Flanders pigeon murderer. There he is, there. Good.
Oh, don't remind me. Now I'm trying to get a hold of myself again. I just thought of one. What was it? Oh yeah. Have you known that the actor that plays Baldric actually did a thank you speech on behalf of Terry Pratchett when he was still alive but not able to speak anymore?
Yes, I've seen it. I believe it's on Tinterwebs.
That was one of the weirdest experiences I ever had.
Tony Robinson did the first audiobooks for Terry Pratchett's Discworld when they were still on cassette, which so he was a fan / friend for years and years and years and years.
I need to hunt them down because I only heard them in German translation.
They are abridged, so you lose some of the fun and games, but they're quite good. That's fun listening to Baldric doing Baldric-y things.
And I imagine he's a very good voice actor doing the other voices of the other characters.
One of my first introductions to classical literature came via Sunday morning television, where Tony Robinson did the Odyssey.
Introduction to classic literature via television. That's a sentence you don't hear very often.
No. And I had never heard of the Odyssey, never heard of Odysseus or the Iliad or anything else. And week by week, he would tell, and he literally told the story and would act out parts and stuff. But it was just him wandering about telling this grand epic tale. That's never been repeated by the BBC, I don't think. That would be, if I could find that, I'd really enjoy watching that again because it was amazing.
Yes, so some people have some presence that just makes you listen. They could go running around circles going gabba 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 and you would still watch it for an hour or so.
Oh dear, no. Hedgeman Gary wants to watch Maid Marian and her merry men. Just say, I've sacked you. Yes, you have, sire. You've sacked me. That was not Tony's finest moment.
I loved the blind one in that movie with the when he is on the toilet going with the what was it, Playboy for blinds. The fold out.
That's different. That's the Mel Brooks Robin Hood.
Ow.
But there was a kids' TV show called Maid Marian and Her Merry Men, where everybody thought Robin Hood was the great, stealing from the rich, giving to the poor. But in actual fact, he was crap, and it was Maid Marian who was actually the brains behind the whole operation. And Tony Robinson played the Sheriff of Nottingham.
So there's a lack of knowledge on my page.
In fact, I'll go one step further. Danny John Jules, the cat from Red Dwarf, was also in it. Playing, I think he played Will Scarlet, the bard.
Now we are venturing into TV territory. I mostly know from hearing, but not seeing the difference of upbringing in different countries.
You're not missing much with that.
Well, I missed Red Dwarf. Still need to catch up on that someday.
Yes.
Well, do you want to go on Hazy
Boy?
Do we want to get on to Hazy Boy
Yes.
675 Project 6XX?
I think so, because he's sitting there in the chat,
Is he?
tapping his fingers on the table,
Poor-
wondering when we're going to scroll down and
poor
stop
boy.
talking about, in fact, I think maybe not. We skipped this. We've already talked about the picture he's used. That's probably enough.
We need to talk about this. Do you see this? This here?
Yes, the big mold lines.
Mold lines. How dare you?
That's because it's PVC plastic, and that's a bugger to clean up unless you're using my patented. I can brush it off.
Patented.
Plasty well that bitch off that nose.
That could work, actually. Yes.
It does work. That's why I suggested it. But he's painted them now, so I'm assuming he's not going to go back. Or alternatively, it's a board game thing, and there's tons of them to do, and he's probably more sensible than me. I just went, I don't care.
Well, I usually don't care for mold lines myself, honestly, even on my Legion miniatures, and if it's not too visible, I just don't fucking care. But on these, this would be a case-to-case... mold line right across the crack.
Yeah, I tend not to focus on that. Just let it go, man. Let it go.
Speaking of focus, if this was been a Jerry picture with a Jerry focus, we wouldn't have seen
Wouldn't
it.
see them mold lines. See,
it
you all laugh at me, but you've no idea how many of my miniatures have mold lines on them.
And we will never know because you're not showing.
Yeah. Although I will say, very fucking few of them. I can't stand mold lines. That's why I have 3 grades of wire wool that I buff all of my miniatures down with after I've filed them.
Has your your sanding paper arrived.
Yes.
Did you actually get 7,000? How?
Yeah.
How minute is that? Rough toilet paper?
No, it's very smooth compared to my toilet paper.
When I heard you say 7,000, I was like, what?
In fact, there's no way you're going to see this. If I hold up something slightly clearer behind it, see if that works. I've got to wait on the thing to catch up.
Now you're making me jelly again. Yeah, your books are in focus.
But well, he has been.
I think I can see what you mean, because the tip isn't dull anymore.
Yep, tip's not dull. Tip's rounded like a lightsaber, not flat like somebody's just glued a big chunk onto him. And I know what the guys were saying, that you shouldn't be able to see through it and it looks better scuffed, but at the same time, no, not to me it doesn't.
If it's,
I quite happily stick with that.
I would go out and say you need to see through, because that's the way the light gets through, even in not so well lit dimensions. And let me just say, I hate you for this idea that you have planted in my head.
Well, tell you what, if you tell me how many lightsabers you require, because like I say, whenever I bought these, I discovered you could buy these off eBay at it was like €3 per stick, and then I discovered old stock from Green Stuff World where it was about €3 for a pack of 5, and I went, I don't need the 5 packs, but if I'm paying that money anyway, I may as well get it. So I've got blue, I've got red, I've got green. I will quite happily do a set of whatever, and I mean buff them down, round them off, blah blah blah. So if you tell me what you need, I'll do you some up.
That's a very generous offer, but since I've already gotten out of my way painting them, I think I will leave it at that.
Sure, for the moment. Just clip them away.
I couldn't bring myself cutting off something I've painted.
Yeah, but you can't do once your new shiny see-through lightsabers arrive. You just go,
but the trouble is, once I go down the route. Going really shiny plastic, I want the LEDs.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And at that point, I'm starting to sound like Blinky.
Yeah. At that point, you have gone full Blinky. You can't recover from that.
That's the point of no return past, and I can't return.
144 Artist. It came out 4 weeks ago, so it's on the site already. If you look for working with PVC, the basics or something like that, it's in there, and I talk about what the constituent parts of those glues are to remove it.
It was a very a relatively short video compared to Snow.
Yeah, compared to Snow. That's not my fault, that's Pete's fault. Pete went, I need to know everything about snow basing ever, and I went, I'm not doing this twice.
Well, can we just declare now we have the Banana Man for scale, and we have the Snow video as a reference for this is a good length, and everything shorter is a very distilled down version.
My particular favourite of that was I think like the week that got uploaded, Vimeo or whatever the fuck they're called.
Vimeo, yes.
Contacted Warren and Lloyd to go,
that's too long.
No, you've moved into the top bracket of our most downloaded or most viewed things, therefore you're now eating into more bandwidth, so we're putting your prices up. And so Warren was very keen on keeping short things so it didn't have a massive impact, and then I dropped an hour-long jerry can on it, and it's like, fuck me.
Well, he's making money of those, so he needs to see them as an investment.
Oh, yeah.
And also, he could potentially host the videos on his own, but that's a technical issue that I should maybe discuss with, no.
Weirdly, I did tell him that you suggested other types of something at one point. Because it wasn't a small increase in costs. It was fucking enormous.
The trouble is, I've for myself have ventured into looking how to set up a video service of sorts, and the trouble is, the sheer data amount leads to large disk sizes, and these are still horrendously expensive compared to a normal disk drive you have in your PC. So yeah, Holland, self-hosting is a way to go, but on the other hand, if you want to monetize your videos, you need to make sure that nobody can get into the videos either way, and that's a real pain in the ass. And if Vimeo is supplying the means to do so and charging for them, I don't know the prices of Vimeo, but I know that they aren't as bad as any other people are around.
I have no idea. It's above my pay grade, so I just stay away from it.
Probably. Well, on to the next one. We say farewell to Hazy Boys Project and say hello to Periphery by Moji. What is he doing? He's doing Judge Dredd. I already like this.
I thought you might.
Dice. A lot of them. Strontium Dog game. And he's using Kill Team. Are no minis in here?
There will be minis, but before we get to the minis, he's essentially making his own game.
So he's using the base set and converting it to a single player. Did I read this correct?
You did indeed. So he's looking for a game that will do all of these various things, have a campaign system, have an AI system, be dungeon crawly, be skirmishy, all of this thing. So this is how he's going through building his Kill Team 2000 AD game, which I just think is delightful. And I'll be stealing as much of that as I possibly can.
Yeah, I'm always impressed if somebody takes a multiplayer games and somehow manages to make it a working solo playing game.
Yeah. Just squeezes it down and gets it rocking and rolling.
The main problem where my imagination and creativity just comes to a grinding halt is when I start to imagine, how do you substitute the other player? There needs to be some system in place to make things move, basically.
It depends on the game. Some of them can be relatively simple. I mean, The Men Who Would Be Kings has a very simple set of mechanics where if you are within charge range, then they will charge, and if not, they will move using whatever cover is available and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like essentially just a set of tables or a flow chart. If this is true, then do this. If it's not true, then do this. And because it's colonial warfare, where you don't have a lot going on, it's simple enough to do. Doing it with something like Dread is a little more complicated because you don't have those clear cut, you know, you're defending a ridge or you're attacking or whatever, and having to deal with that. You've got a lot more going on with it.
And that's why I'm also always impressed if something like Fallout Wasteland Warfare gets a single-player experience, or somehow FFG pulled the insane stunt and made X-Wing do a single-player. And if you've seen the method they used, it's rather simple comparing to the complexity that goes into the strategy playing this game.
Yeah. I did, on first looking at it, there's a lot going on there. Where you're going, if blah 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 blah, but when you actually start to play it out, it
starts to flow. Once you have somehow memorized. Okay, if I roll a blank, I'm on defense. If I roll a evade, I'm on neutral. And then you look up the charts. It's simply just like remembering any other rule you have in your game. And it just you just work your way through these charts, and I think it's intimidating at first because it's on 8 pages.
Yeah.
But you basically only need 4 of them at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I don't know about you people. I'm starting to feel old. And worse is, I'm starting to feel that my last beer is getting to a close. So jump up to the last project for tonight.
Okie dokie.
Kit bashing. And the project picture itself already sparks joy in this one. Kit bashing Necromunda. Well, yes, this is definitely kit bashing. What the hell?
This is short, but this is beautiful. So that's an LED spotlight 2-pack. The clamshell, the blister pack that goes over the top. You can see where they live.
I can barely make it out.
Looks like a milk bottle top.
Some screw cap. Some.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go out and limb and say that's definitely a milk bottle top because
okay,
there it is. There.
Why do you have a milk bottle in your hobby room?
Because I was drinking milk earlier. Because I can't have beer or whiskey.
Some bits and bobs.
The fan looks like a real fan of something. Don't know where that's come from.
Maybe some 3D printed part.
3D print or
leftovers from any other project.
Or a resin model is missing its turbine. There's a 747 that's never getting off a runway.
So basically, he takes some junk, rolls it.
A lot of junk.
Rolls it in his bits box and comes up with very cool terrain.
Very much so.
And again, this shows your primer will pull it together.
And not just the primer, because this is short, but this little piece of it is complete, so we get to see it all the way to the end, which is nice. Which is why I've chucked it in here as a little for me, because it's a little darling.
I love these projects because these show creativity. That's the ability to see things in other things that are not there before you actually start painting them, and not until you're nearly finished and everybody else can see what you have seen before. And this always makes me smile. Because even if you don't know what it is, what it does, it looks cool, it looks like it belongs there, and it looks like it serves some purpose.
Exactly, and when you looked at the first, when the turbine was glued on one side and I have no idea what that
bottle cap,
just bottle cap squeeze thing on the other side, and you're going, that what? It's pointless. But then when you actually see it painted and finished, you're going, all right, so that sucks.
That's an intake. That's an exhaust of science.
Yeah, you're going, well, yeah, of course, and that makes perfect sense. They would be like that, and there's probably some sort of ducting inside there, and okay, and sure.
And on the side with a little red turning wheel, you attach some hose to fill up some container, and it's totally logical.
Makes more sense than a lot of moisture evaporators I've seen on certain test planets. You get fucking air or anything like that. So on to the next piece.
I always wondered if they would collect the water in small 1 liter cans or something.
Yeah. Well, time will tell. I'm sure we'll get some sort of spin-off that's just about moisture evaporators.
Yeah.
When Disney are really stripping the bottom banner.
Probably the solution to all will be, yes, the moisture evaporator collects a liter of water and then beams it up to a station in orbit.
But I'm curious as to what's coming next, because we've got onto the next piece, ... That aerial washing pods box looks good for something. So you're literally just, I imagine...
he's pulling us. He's just... Yeah. What is the aerial washing pods box look like? I will look it up now. That's some rather dull-looking bucket.
It is just a rounded bucket. The top of it's quite good because it reseals. I have a friend uses it to keep his Dettol in for stripping minis.
I would say you turn that round 180 degrees on its head, put some speckle and sand on it, and you have a desert house.
Yeah, make yourself a bunker.
Or something like that, yeah.
Time will tell, because at no point would I have looked at a clamshell blister pack for 2 LED spotlights and gone moisture condenser. So
or any other terrain for that matter.
If we see something as dull as an upside down house building, I'll be just solely disappointed. But Captain Skyhawk. You're a legend.
To be honest, if I see these blister pack packages, the way I look at them is, what would happen if I fill it with some kind of resin?
Yeah,
what kind of shape can I get out of this? But I wouldn't usually go this way.
No.
But
it's genius.
Well done, sir. I think the same as we started this, I would say this is somehow eligible for a gold button. Maybe. At least going on a list. Ben, do you hear me? Ben? Ben?
Don't worry, he'll hear me tomorrow.
What? Here? You're actually talking to each other? I thought you reduced communications to short little notes over the internet.
Just passing notes back and forth. No. Sometimes we chat. No.
Can't believe that. People talking to people. What heresy is this?
I know. It's what happens is I go, you should see this great thing called Suburban Sasquatch, and then he says no.
Not again.
Switches off the camera.
And you see his
just hear him face palming.
Yeah, he has some weight to carry when he's on show with certain other people who are not named but loved.
Yes, he does.
Well, so we will call this one a short one today. We're only 2 hours in instead of our usual 2.5.
Pretty sure we're trying to get back down to that half-hour gold standard of just half an hour of top hobby news.
We will condense it further, but if we go to a half hour back, I will need to get on something else than beer to have the same level of happiness by the end of it.
That's true. That is true.
And I don't think I want to do that during the weekdays.
Snow base length, yeah.
Snow base length and banana man height.
Darth Maul has been leaked for Legion, screams Hedgeman Gary.
What? We need a link or it's not true.
Yep. Pixar didn't happen.
Well, that's a term I haven't heard in a long time.
Is that not what the kids still say?
No, that's what they said about 20 years ago. Well, you can all find out if Fantasy Flight is up to the game and has released something, because for some fucking reason people are talking leaks when Fantasy Flight is releasing a product. Nope, not yet.
No. Can't I see anything?
Of course he leaks, he was cut in half. Fair enough.
Cauterized, don't worry about that. We're all fine here.
Because if he would have leaked at that moment, that would have been an awful mess down that trench. It's on Reddit. Well, I won't go on Reddit now because I have an account on Reddit. On YouTube. I will go on YouTube with the other computer.
Hang on a minute. Where's that from?
Where? What?
That's from last year.
Leaked by distributors. Krabok again. But he's talking only. He doesn't show anything.
Demand pictures. This is outrageous. It's an
Star
outrage.
Wars, Darth Maul, and Sith probe droid operative in expansion. Well, to be fair, we expected as much because we've got so much other things. I'm still waiting for the next releases for the original versions, but because recently it's only Clone Wars.
See, you've been spoiled by getting your stuff early, whereas the rest of Europe / UK still haven't got the stuff that you got before the lockdown kicked in.
Yes,
for Legion.
Usually
now you're waiting because they're having to catch up in the rest of the world for the stuff you've already had for months. So you've got a long fucking wait.
Usually we are the second to last ass of the queue to get anything apart from Australia. So
yeah, that's fair.
Now we have it. Let the hate flow through you. Oh, talking about hate. Just to make things worse, I probably think there are
Box of hate.
some people still in chat, I think,
Yeah.
that are wanting to see these or not. I don't care. We got these Rebel enhancements.
Oh, nice.
Verso and ID10, which I'm still calling idiot because there's definitely a T missing.
I imagine so.
And Cassian Andor.
Oh, K2.
K2SO, yes.
That box along with Clan Ren has been ordered in for me when the next delivery comes.
I thought as much. Clan Ren still, I think, I don't know. Is that a unit for the classic? No, I think it's for the Clone Wars. Is it?
No, well, no, it'll be for
Imperium.
For Imperium because they came up in Rebels.
Yes,
so they're from the Rebels cartoon, so it's for a Ridge Tridge, which is fine because once I've got them and I have the cards, at that point I'll be breaking out some of those Mandalorians that weren't 3D printed. And just going full Mandalorian army.
Well, Panzer Kaputt, they are still in box, so I haven't gotten around to painting them yet. Because I was busy with the Fallout stuff, which is finished and boxed. Now I'm just getting rid of the other little miniatures that are still occupying painting spots on my paint station. And if those are gone, I'm going full Legion again. And hopefully get to paint them all before I'm able to have a game with my friendly Loki game store.
Sweet.
Yes. So, anybody in the audience having any questions to me or Jerry, which I can't force to answer any of them.
Yeah, you know.
But if you ask politely.
I might. Never know.
Because he's a gentle giant, as Lita told me.
Just what they say. Brought your daughter back. She's no use to me. Hope you die soon.
I couldn't tell you, Legion Manda, because I actually didn't have them out of the box. But I'll tell you what, I will put them out now.
Weirdly, I seen them talking about them a while ago, going all of the new ones going forward should be hard plastic.
They should. I think I need to turn on the camera again.
Because
this is not only hard plastic.
Because there are options on some of the sprues as well. So Clan Ren, for example,
that's the key word you have used.
Options.
Sprue. We have sprues.
Yeah,
they're not coming in small boxes anymore. We have sprues. This is actually the first time I've seen these now in person, because these were sealed until just now. And let me tell you, they look good.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, the Sundancer started doing this because he was bored. This has nothing to do with the Spring Clean Challenge. So
Spring Clean Challenge was only a sort of starting...
Yeah, it was incidental that it happened to be running at the same time, so... As long as he's still doing them and doesn't mind me tagging along.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, we'll be here for a while.
These are looking... Now I'm genuinely curious about the others. So, people, we will have a look-see at the other ones. I'm guessing...
They were meant to do it from the launch of the Clone Wars starter set. They specifically said then that they would all be hard plastic, and then something happened that pushed that back.
So
that's why I ended up with half and half.
I'm guessing the Rebel troops will still be... Yes, they are not on sprues, but that's something I've expected, because they should have been in production the same time the core set went out. So these are still like... And this is actually something I really enjoy buy FFG because you have so many little bags for your board games you don't need to buy because they are supplied for free.
Yeah. That'd be interesting because I think somebody said the Stormtroopers were due to be hard plastic rather than PVC plastic. So,
what Stormtroopers?
Whatever the next batch of Stormtroopers was supposed to be.
Since there is nothing announced, this could really prove interesting. And here we have 8 Verso and Idiot. And it's a sprue. And do you see these people? See? There are numbers and letters. So you can't mismatch these things.
Numbers and or letters.
No,
my
both.
favorite kind.
And I think they taste good. Let me just lick it. Extraordinaire. Where's the flight base? Where is the flight base? If they have...
It's an interesting set of Mandos. Hang on 1 second. Oh, the arcs are hard plastic. There we go. So this must be so from this run forward, I think they're phasing out the PVC and going for hard plastic. Those Mandalorians that were shared in Discord, what are they from? Or are they just a 3D printy type thing?
If those are from Manda, they are 3D printed. She did a lot of printing in the last few days.
No, Hedgeman Gary actually.
Oh. But Amanda did a lot of Battle Mac printing. And have you seen her Mutinous Tutinous mount?
I haven't.
No, you haven't?
I haven't.
Amanda, why didn't you show him? It's a Pickus Dickus.
Nice.
It's a what's it called?
Somewhere around here I have a set of the Mandos, not that set. A different set of Mandos 3D printed.
It's a hippopotamus with a dick for its head.
Nice. Rhino dick.
This is basically... I thought of it as heavy cavalry for the Mutinous Tutinous.
Hippopotamus.
Yes. It was awesome.
Yes, definitely not the ones I sent you. They're very different. Very, very different. Oh, isn't that darling? Huh?
Does
it spit like the thing from Jurassic Park when it gets activated?
That could prove problematic.
Fascinating.
Well, before anybody else is going to show any more things that are tempting us to buy new things, I would like to thank the audience for being here, especially for the few ones who actually made my day pushing these damn sound buttons and catching me off guard. That's something I was afraid of, being totally shocked by something going on stream.
Shut up, you cunt.
Exactly, laughing boy. I'm also surprised that Twitch hasn't censored that one. But then again, probably they don't have time to listen to all the audio that is submitted. I thank you very much again, Jerry.
Always a pleasure.
And I think we will see each other in about 6 to 8 hours on Discord, and I think Friday to the weekender.
Yeah.
So long, keep well,
Happy bye.
stay indoors, and wash your hands.